Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Erin Molan Show. I'm whispering a little bit. I'm still on the road in America. I'm in New York at the moment. I've just done 2 incredible interviews for you. I promise you these are outstanding. I'm currently in a hotel lobby and I was for the interview, so my apologies. There's a little bit of background noise, but bear with us because these matter. Gazelle. She's been on my show a couple of times, in fact, a few times, including on my Sky News show over the past couple of years. Her beautiful dad was one of the most phenomenal human beings. He was fighting so hard for the people of Iran to free them from the terrorist regime currently in control and in power there. Now, we've had some incredible news just over the past day. His body is coming home. I've fought alongside her, behind her, in so many ways to help her get this body home, and she should never have had to fight and do this on her own. She's been let down by so many people, but that aside, she's just found out that her dad's body is coming home, and it's a really hard thing for most of us who are so privileged to have never been through this kind of hell to understand how someone can be elated over the moon at getting the body of their loved one home. But this is what this regime does to people. This is what they do. And it helps in some way to give insight into what is going on in Gaza at the moment as well, with the bodies of hostages that their families desperately need home. They are no less valued than the living hostages, no less loved and no less needed. This chat with Gazelle is very raw. I started recording before she even came on so we could get her actual reaction, so please enjoy that as well. She will give you the context and the background as to how her father was kidnapped by this regime and killed because he was doing so much to fight for their people. After my chat with Gazelle, Lincoln Parker is on, and he's one of the world's foremost experts on China. He's just been in a conference in the US. He talks about who will blink first, the US or the CCP under Xi Jinping. It's a fascinating conversation. So very newsy on this show today. So please, first of all, though, enjoy Gazelle's a brief, rare moment of joy amidst what has been 5 years of hell on earth for this incredible family. Not emotional. Oh, my beauty. Oh, my God. Stop it. I'm so happy I can't. Congratulations, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
My God, how do you feel?
I have no idea. I never ugly cried and laughed and everything at the same time.
Is it like it's the most absurd thing, but this is what you celebrate? It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. And it's absolutely like, it was in the moment, like the anniversary was coming up and I'm like, what am I going to do? You know, what am I going to do? And then like now it's happening. I'm like, is this destiny? Is somebody just like messing with me up there? Like, what is this? But it's everything coming together. And this could have been such an ugly day, you know? This could have been such a freaking painful day. After 1 year, like my dad's body is still in Germany, treated like this, you know, disposable crap, pretty much. And I'm standing here like, please bring it. Like, it would have been so horrible. And now it's turning into, what? We're bringing him home.
I am so, and I'm recording, by the way, so with your permission, I want to use that. We definitely don't need to, but I want, like, I can't describe. I feel so much emotion. I can't even imagine where your head is at. So many conflicting emotions.
It was just like a movie playing in my mind in that moment of 5 years in fast speed, you know, 5 years from the moment I saw the picture of my dad kidnapped, from the moment we came together as a family, crying, calling everybody, the first interviews, the first activist who reached out, the first time I was in US media, the first time I was in German media, the first time somebody took me to Congress, you know, started lobbying, like everything was playing in my head to the moment they killed him. How everyone come together, how everybody was carrying us through this time. And throughout this time, our governments doing nothing, doing nothing, doing nothing, doing nothing, and doing nothing up until now. And then it was still you know, people like you, people like small activists who are just like sharing your tweets, helping with donations, helping with talking to the governments, and everything coming together. And he's coming home, and that was all playing in a second. I don't know how to describe it, but um,
How did you find out? Tell me the moment that somebody, I don't know who it was, tell me who told you that your dad's coming home.
I wanna keep the privacy of everybody who helped in the background make this possible. But it was just I didn't believe it. I thought maybe it's a cruel joke. We had many of these cruel jokes throughout the years that people reached out and wanted to help, and it turned out it was the regime just, you know, trying to abuse the family that is grieving and that is desperate. So I didn't give it much attention. And then finally, when everything was coming together and we were getting the date, he's coming this week, he's coming this week, he's flying to Los Angeles. We can prepare the burial. I told my mother, and I've never seen her in these 5 years with this smile in her face, jumping in my arms, you know, like he's coming home and he's not alive, but just him, like being able to have him here was meant so much to her. And it was just unbelief. It was just absolute unbelief. And I don't know what to do right now, just to let the world know, because he has been public. This whole thing has been public, and our community is us. You know, our community is our family that made this happen, that was with us, that cried with us, that fought with us, that laughed with us, step by step by step. And my father is not the only one. My father is one in a million who have this grief, one in a million of families that don't have their loved ones back. They're in Iran. They don't have their loved ones back. They don't know where their children are buried or thrown at after they're killed by the regime, after they're killed by savages. There's still hostages in Gaza where we don't know where they are. So just having him back, and the community knowing we did this. We did this. And Erin, I spoke with a lot of people since I have the news, and everybody told me, you know, this, we're writing history right now, because I think this is the first time that we got somebody that was kidnapped by the Ayatollahs back to America to their family. This has never happened. Not with Bob Levinson, not with any of the people who were kidnapped. This is a first time. And we did this. Not our governments. We did this, you know? So,
You
yeah.
are incredible, and I know firsthand that you have not taken a breath for 5 years. This has just dominated your entire existence. You mentioned the hostages in Gaza, and I want to talk to you in a second, because it's so hard, I think, for people to understand what it means to a family, even if their loved one has died, to get the body back. But I want to stick with your story first. And just for those who aren't across it, and for people who watch my show, they would know you because you've come on a few times now. But if people have just joined us, can you explain what happened to your beautiful dad, Jimmy?
My dad has not been just a dad to me and my brother. He's been a dad to a nation, to the children of Iran. He's been their voice, their father, their protector. And he, in his capacity of having, you know, an online platform back in the day, 20 years ago, when we didn't have Instagram and social media, he created a website as a web designer where they could securely come and talk and you know, get together without the regime identifying their IP addresses and putting them in jail. You know,
Wow.
today, even if you like an Israeli post in Iran, you're thrown in jail. So this kind of security and how he built that website was so valuable to the community. And he kept for years speaking the truth about this Ayatollah regime, that they're not Iranian, that they're not a government that we elected. They are jihadists that invaded and did a coup in Iran, took the power, turned the nation around, made it hell, and have been for the last 46 years killing Iranians. Just 1,230 Iranians were killed this year alone by the Ayatollahs. That is one massacre after another. So for years, the regime has sent out assassins to kill him here in Los Angeles, to try to kidnap him. And unfortunately, 5 years ago, they were able to do that. They kidnapped him on a layover, took him to Dubai, held him hostage for 5 years, and last year murdered him. So now for the last year, our community, not just grieving about his death and what it means to us, you know, like none of us are safe out here if they can just kidnap you and take you and murder you and your governments do nothing. But we've been trying to get his body back, you know, to first of all find out, is he really dead? Because terrorists lie. You don't know, you know? And now it's exactly 1 year of the day that they tried to erase him. And on that 1 year anniversary, we're showing we're not letting him be erased. None of us, we're bringing him back. And we're going to be celebrating together next week or so. I am still trying to figure out how we do that, but yeah.
What is your mum feeling? Can you try and explain or convey that to us? You talk about she smiled the first time you've seen her smile in a long time. What does it feel like for her?
I have no idea, but you know, I was so surprised when I gave her the news. I was thinking like there would be some fear or something or some sadness of like, oh my God, it's real. He's coming home. She smiled. She jumped into my arms like I gave him back to her. This is exactly like I'm giving him back to her because I made that promise 5 years ago to her. I will bring him back. I should have been more precise. I will bring him back alive. Next time. I'm bringing him back, and it's the love of her life. They have been married for 45 years. 5 years out of that separated because he was kidnapped. But this is her sweetheart, you know, coming back to her and just having the opportunity to have him there, have him in the casket, and saying you're here, you know, having somebody to talk to, because what else, like you'll be suicidal if you can't even do that, if you can't even have that closure and that thing that he's here now, he's not in the hands of these savages anymore. And that means so much that nobody can understand until it happens to you. And I hope it never happens to any of you guys out there.
The hostages still in Gaza and all living hostages are out, but there are still the bodies of deceased hostages in Gaza. You know better than anyone how that feels and what they would be going through. Can you explain why it matters so much for us not to take the foot off the pedal until every single one of those families gets their loved one back, even if it is in a body bag?
I can't tell you how it hurts when you hear like people saying, when you say like there's still bodies left behind, they're like, yeah, well, they're dead. For 1 second, anybody out there, just imagine your favorite person on earth, whether it's your daughter, your husband, your parent, kidnapped, taken somewhere where you don't see them. You don't know what happened to them. You don't know if they're alive. The only thing you have is the word of savage terrorists that tell you, well, he's dead. You can't even fathom what that means, because you have never the certainty of knowing what was his last moment. What did actually happen to them? Did they fight? Did they have pain? How did they look like? Like anything, like just to understand that they're really dead, you need to have them back. You need to have them back, even if it's part of them. Like my father, they cut him into pieces, they mutilated him, they cut out his tongue and his teeth and his heart and so many organs of him. And even if we just get a finger back, you know, it's just like having that peace. And it's important to us, not just spirituality, like spiritually, like, you know, like in all of our faith, it's like having this body return to you, a piece of them return to you, but also to really make your head understand that it happened, because it never becomes real until you have that. And just imagine it is your daughter, your son. You don't know where they are until you have them back and look and put them to rest. And I hope people will never have to understand that. That's the only hope I have.
Privilege not to ever have to understand that. What an immense privilege. How will you honor him? What will you do?
He is Zoroastrian, so it will be as much as possible a Zoroastrian burial that we're going to have. But his story is the story of a community, is a story of a people, a global people who were fighting for peace, for freedom, for truth. And if I can manage, I will bring together as many as I can on short notice of these wonderful people who stand for exactly this cause, and have them stand together for one even if it's for 1 hour or 1 minute, just to have these evil Ayatollahs, Hamas, jihadists, and all of the people out there who want to destroy us, look at this scene of everybody standing there together and saying, you cannot destroy us. We are here. We're stronger than ever. If you try to erase us, we will make each other immortal. If you try to take our life, there's 20 others, 30 others, thousands of others standing up at their place. And I want this to be the message of strength that my father always wanted. I don't want anybody grieving. It will be all in white, in Zoroastrian white and pure, and a celebration of what he stood for and what our communities stand for. And a message to those out there that we will get justice. Even if it's without our governments, we will get justice and we will get it done.
You embody strength unlike anyone else I've ever encountered. And I don't say that lightly, because I've met so many phenomenal people. So many people fight, and so many people stand up for what is right. So many people tell the truth, but they don't do that on a level that is so deeply personal. I don't know how you have functioned, let alone fought. You're a mother, you're a daughter. You had to deal with the pain of losing your dad, the pain of knowing how badly... I think for me, that's the thing that I can't... It's knowing that someone is hurting someone you love so much and not being able to do anything about it. How have you survived, let alone fought to make this happen? You are my hero.
You're my hero. You're my hero, Erin. And it's something that I cannot describe, but it's something that I feel like you will find out how strong you can be if there is no other chance. If there's no other way to be strong, what other option is there? To break down and let them have you too, break you too, or step up and say, this is the time that I cannot change what they have done. I cannot change evil. I cannot stop evil on my own, but I can decide how I handle this. Will I crumble into a billion pieces and take defeat and surrender? Or will this be the moment that, however painful it is, I take that pain and turn it into fire. I take that hate and I turn it into love. I take that desperation and feeling alone and turning it into a community that stands together and tells everybody who is like me, everybody who loved somebody so much that they wouldn't stop fighting for them, that you are not alone. This is the message to every girl inside of Iran. And you always make me cry. I hate that.
Sorry.
To every person out there, from Tel Aviv to Tehran to Syria to all of these places where exactly this story happens, you are not alone. I'm here with you. Everybody's here with you. We're connecting each other, and we're so much stronger than they can ever be.
That was my last question, and God, you always make me cry as well. You've answered it already, and I didn't even need to ask you, but for my audience who might not know you as well as I do, you've got your dad home now. He's coming home. But there's no chance in hell your fight ends here. His fight was on behalf of his nation and his people, and I am assuming, I hope not wrongly, that you continue this fight for your people to, A, bring your father's murderers to justice, and B, free the people that they cruelly control and the power they stole.
It is not just my people. My father was the spokesperson of the Kingdom Assembly of Iran, which are freedom fighters of Iran, the children of Iran, and there are millions and millions of heroes, and they're fighting every single day without being seen. And the moment they killed him, I put on his pin that I'm still carrying here, which means I'm now in his position. And the first act was to bring him home and get justice for him. But it does not end there. This is where justice begins. This is where our power begins. This is where our coalitions begin. And it will not just be the people of Iran who at the end will be free. It will be the entire Middle East that has been occupied for 1,400 years under this Arab Islamist occupation and suffered, that we will free nation after nation, civilization after civilization of indigenous people until they're free. And until we bring that freedom and that strength and that justice and these values that we carried there back to the West where they're now needed. So we have a lot to do. This is my promise to you and to my people and to everybody out there. This is the beginning of what we're going to do.
I love you so much. You are
I
my.
love you too.
Thank you for everything you do. And they are in safe hands with you at the helm of this fight. And I know you're one of many, but you are an outstanding leading voice. You are one of the loudest voices. You risk your life day in, day out to do this. It matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin, for everything that you do and for being my voice for so long. I love you.
Can't
This would
wait
have
up.
not happened without you, Erin.
Don't be.
Thank you.
I love you. It's such a privilege and a pleasure. You're the best. Thank you so much. She is incredible, isn't she? Just the most superb human being. And I tell you what, if you are in trouble, you want a woman like Gazelle on your side. She does not give up. She is relentless. And it's paid off. So I'm so proud of her. Let's now head to my chat with Lincoln Parker about the current situation regarding China, not just with tariffs, not just with their desire to reclaim Taiwan and their pursuit of global domination, but also what's happening with the cartels and the American administration and how China is absolutely involved in every element of it, even if it might feel like they are not. Lincoln Parker, so good to see you. You are one of the world's foremost experts when it comes to, I keep going to say the rising threat of China, but that's ridiculous because it is a very current and existing threat of the Chinese Communist Party. Great to have you on and really looking forward to the chat.
G'day, Erin. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm here in Washington, D.C. In fact, I'm in Georgetown. I've just been in Hawaii for the last week for InfoPAC, which is a very large information warfare conference, fairly and squarely focused on the already risen Chinese Communist Party's aggression across the Pacific, but indeed also how they're supporting Russia in the fight against Ukraine. With the purchase of oil, just as they've been purchasing oil from the likes of Iran and supporting, terrorists worldwide. And it's something that we need to really start looking at a whole lot more closely than we are.
You know this space as well as, if not better than anyone. What stood out to you from that experience in Hawaii? What are you walking away that is living rent-free in your head, essentially, or that scares you more than anything else that was covered?
Erin, I think what really scares me is that the general public, whether that is in the United States, Europe, or in Australia, are not fully aware of just how aggressive China, the Chinese Communist Party, is in terms of infiltrating society at a human intelligence level, but also in a cyber level. So access into critical infrastructure that they could turn off at any time. And just how much coercion they are placing our lawmakers, our politicians, and our business people under. And I just don't think the public are aware of that. And I think it is something that our leaders ought to be really communicating better with, because push is coming to shove. And at some stage, I think the United States and indeed the West are going to be involved in some sort of adversarial action that really none of us want to see, but that's where China is really pushing everybody towards, particularly when you look at the bullying that they're doing with the Philippines on a daily basis, the cyber attacks that are occurring across the world on a daily basis. It really, from what I've heard at some, pretty senior intelligence levels, it looks like things are going to come to a head at some stage in the near future.
Utterly terrifying, and it's something that you and I have covered on my Sky News show for years now, Link, and we've constantly made the point that you can't prepare for something that you don't understand, and you can't get a society of people on board from a government perspective if they don't get the threat. And people don't. You're so right. Let me just give a little bit of context to those particularly listening on the podcast. I'm in a hotel lobby. You're in a hotel room in Washington, I think, at the moment. I'm in New York. There are doors opening and shutting. I promise you this was completely silent when I set up here, but everyone's now decided it's a thoroughfare. So my apologies, but I know that my audience is very passionate about getting information in real time whenever we can do it. When I'm on the road, it doesn't matter. So please bear with us when you hear doors opening and shutting. My apologies. It's not overly professional. Link, a lot of people focus when they talk about China on this, very obvious because Xi Jinping talks about it all the time, his desire to take back Taiwan. That's, I mean, in terms of what they aspire to, is that chicken feed really in terms of what China actually wants, which is global domination? What do you see the timeline as, and has it been, I mean, we've seen former US commanders talk about 2027, 2029. What was talk on the ground at this conference, and how do you see this playing out? Is Taiwan still a priority prior, or how does it work?
Well, Taiwan is a pawn. It's a chip. You're absolutely right. I remember, it was only about a year ago, Erin, on your Sky News Australia show, where you would have the likes of Bridge Colby on, who is now at the Pentagon, and shout out to Bridge.
Love you, Bridge.
Yeah. So yes, everybody is still at the very highest levels in defense and government focused on a China attack on Taiwan in about 2 years, if not before. I think the administration in the United States, led by President Donald Trump, has done a better job than any president we've seen in modern history of putting the Chinese under intense pressure. And so, I'm hoping that with President Donald Trump and the pressure he is putting on China with regard, specifically with regards to trade, but also all of the peace deals and the friends he has made the United States, is now making China, take a second look and go, oh my goodness, the United States is really powerful under, Donald Trump right now. He is solving wars across the Middle East. Hopefully he'll get the Ukraine-Russia thing done. No thanks to China's support of Russia. And you look what he's doing elsewhere and now in South America, and he's looking after the United States. So, I think there's a hope that China will will blink first in this game of chicken, but they definitely want to take Taiwan, which is not good for the world. But yeah, I think the planning is still for a couple of years.
Looking at what the US is doing now with cartels and essentially taking out, I mean, shoot first, no questions later because they're dead, and absolutely in agreement with this methodology. What is China's role within that? China stands to benefit more from chaos domestically in the US than anyone else. But can you explain to my audience how they are involved in that, even from afar?
Well, you're absolutely right, Erin. So China is the world's #1 manufacturer of the precursors of fentanyl, the deadliest drug known to mankind on the streets at the moment. In fact, I believe they are supplying something like 99% of this precursor that goes into fentanyl. They ship it into the cartels in South America, but Venezuela and then into Mexico, which then goes and kills about 70,000 Americans every year. And then if you can imagine the greater impact that has, because if it's killing one person, that person has a family.
Yeah.
And that family is devastated. But also, as you point out, you're taking 50,000 Americans or 70,000 Americans every year off the potential military recruiting list. And you're sowing discord. You are making social life in the United States, difficult and more expensive for their healthcare system. And it's just another thing that US government and state governments and local governments in the United States have to continually deal with. So it's part of China's unrestricted warfare approach. They would much rather not have to shoot bullets. They'd rather have you subjugate you way before that ever occurs. And this is exactly what they're doing.
Was there much talk whilst you were there regarding the Middle East? And I say peace deal very, not reluctantly, I'm very hopeful, but I am, as my dad used to say, you knew well, cautiously optimistic. But Hamas is a terrorist organization. What hope in hell do we have of them abiding by any type of agreement? And I've just seen literally moments ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu has given the go-ahead to take on strikes again in Gaza off the back of Hamas firing at IDF troops, which shouldn't surprise anybody.
No. Yeah, so the discussions were is that I think for the first time we've seen what Donald Trump did was brilliant. He brought in a lot of the Middle East countries, most of them, if not all of them, Muslim countries. And so what that is doing is putting intense intense pressure on Hamas. And I think we all understand, and Secretary Rubio mentioned this the other day, was, there's going to be road bumps. But in this case and in this scenario, it is actually the Muslim countries that want this to be done. They benefit way more from a peaceful Middle East than they do with this constant war and constant death and destruction. So I think this is part of what the administration probably thought would happen in any case. Hamas weren't just going to go quiet immediately. Secretary Rubio backed what Israel has done. They said, look, it is their country. When things like this happen, of course they're going to defend their sovereignty. And so I think we'll probably see a little bit more of that. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I think this is a piece that's going to hold.
You look at the involvement, particularly of Indonesia, a country that I'm very passionate about and spent much of my childhood in. And when you have the leader of the world's nation with the largest Islamic population get up at the United Nations and look, it sounds ridiculous because, of course, Israel has a right to exist, but for him to say that publicly, and then to say, and when I say him, I'm talking about President Prabowo, and then to use the word shalom, I don't think people quite understand the significance of that. There was a lot of domestic backlash to Prabowo's comments. It is very difficult for him in this space, yet he continues to persist. Prime Minister Netanyahu quoted Prabowo, and I know that went down like a lead balloon in some parts of his own political party. It's a difficult balance, but the fact that they are engaged and they are doing incredible things in this space, that gives me a lot of hope as well.
Well, can I just say, I think the United States, and if anybody from the administration is listening, should make Erin Molan a special envoy to Indonesia. I don't know anybody that knows Indonesia as well as you do. You can speak the language, which you've done before on Sky News Australia, which is impressive. You spent a long time there. Your father, was Major General. Rest in peace. Spent a lot of time in Indonesia, so you have that national security level understanding. But you're right. You point out that you have one of the world's largest Muslim populations on Australia's doorstep that is behind this, that is in agreement with what the United States is doing. And so I think they're a really key player. I think it is a country that Australia doesn't engage closely enough with. It is good to see that the US administration is doing that. And Special Envoy Erin Molan.
My greatest cheerleader. I love that. I was actually in Indonesia last week, Link, met with the tourism minister there and a few other government types. And I think the potential there is so untapped. It's insane. And you make such a great point. And I mean, our Prime Minister didn't go to the inauguration of, the equivalent inauguration of President Prabowo. And I look at, even from a proximity perspective, let alone geopolitical, our closest neighbour, one of our greatest allies, such a strong, powerful country. I mean, it was disgraceful. But President Trump continually references President Prabowo publicly, which is a huge deal. And they seem to care more deeply about the relationship with Indonesia than Australia does, which is shameful.
Well, it is. I mean, I think the United States administration under Donald Trump has proven everybody wrong with regard to foreign policy, economic policy, and we're Australians, and we're just looking at what's occurred over the last 8 months, and in amazement. I mean, this man works like 20 hours a day, right?
Whenever I'm tired, I just think, you know what, he's got me. I can't complain.
I know. I thought you worked a lot, and then I'm looking at a 78-year-old man, flying around the world, leading with world. I'm just like, oh my goodness! And the peace deals that are being done, the bringing in of actors like Indonesia and the Middle East and now South America. I mean, it is fantastic. And I'm just so glad that we have this kind of world leadership, because it's great for Australia, and in fact, it's great for the world. I think we could, certainly from an Australian perspective, we could be doing a whole lot more, particularly with regard to Indonesia and also the Pacific Islands.
Yeah.
And take a leaf out of the president's book.
Can you imagine, Link, if Kamala had gotten in? I can't even. It makes me feel physically ill, the thought of it alone.
Oh, look, I agree. And, I will admit to your audience that I am a conservative, so...
Stop it.
Right. But, I think on face value, well, first of all, the American people voted with their feet. They saw the likes of Vice President Harris, and they said no thanks. And and were I a US citizen, although in some states you don't need to be a US citizen, it seems to vote. Were I a US citizen, I certainly would not have voted that way. And just very grateful for what we've seen over the last 8 or 9 months in a direction, world affairs have significantly changed for the better. And the US economy is now roaring along, which is good for exports for Australia, for instance, and investment coming from the United States. All of these deals that we just haven't seen over the Biden administration or Obama administration previously. So very, very good things are happening, and I'm not sure whether we'll see a third term of Mr. Trump, but
he's angling. He's using it to troll his enemies, which is so entertaining.
Totally. Yeah, it's just great. It's great TV, but it's great foreign policy. It's great economic policy. It's great world leadership, and that's something we sorely needed. And I think we're seeing it now. And it's I'm a fan.
Spot on. Link, how can my audience keep across what you're doing? How can they follow you? How can they get in touch?
I think they should just do it through you, Erin, because I'm not that public anymore. You can find me on X, formerly
Lincoln
known as
Parker on X. Absolutely. You're a legend. Thank you so much for your incredible insights as always, and can't wait to have you on the show much more often.
Thanks, Erin. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Erin Molan Show, brought to you from a hotel lobby in New York City. I head to Canada next. I know we're only meant to have 3 shows a week, but you guys know me pretty well by now. I'm incapable of not bringing you things constantly because, well, I have no life and I care deeply. So there will be a bonus episode on the weekend, and I'll also keep you informed, and I'll bring you smaller clips and updates and that kind of thing as we go along. Again, we love you. Thank you so much for your support of this show. It means the world to us. Let us know always what you think in the comment section. A rate and review on the podcast. That would be wonderful. And share this show with the people that you think will enjoy it, which is everyone. Love you all. See you on the weekend, and then see you next week, Monday, 6 a.m. ET.